Yeah.
Okay. Then I welcome our moderator, Black Messiah or Clinton, to take us through this discussion of child support. Karibu Clinton. Oh, I noticed that he logged out. I think he accidentally logged out. Ben Tim, did Clinton make it to your house? He was supposed to moderate over there. Benson. Okay, it looks like Benson is not able to speak. Then I will hold brief for him until he shows up. As soon as he shows up, we can hand over to him. So, child support is our topic of the day, and we had 4 subtopics that will guide our discussion.
So
We had 4.
hey guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Benson.
Yes.
Is Black Messiah there with you? Is Clinton there?
He's here. So
Oh.
I just noticed that nilikuwa nimeweka sound settings zenye hazifai.
Okay. So is he able to speak?
Yep. Yes.
Hey,
Sawa,
Dorcas.
the floor.
Yes,
Clinton.
how are you?
I'm good. Yeah,
Very
the floor is yours. Please take over the discussion.
Okay. Well, hello, how are you guys? My name is Clinton. They call me Black Messiah. So today we are going to talk about child support. You know, this is a very complicated topic, but we are going to dig into it. You know, child support is a very, very complicated topic because we are talking about 2 people, 2 grown-ups who had sex, got pregnant, and
Mercy, uliniletea headphones.
decided to ignore a child.
Nisaidie nazo
So that's why today, in today's topic, we want to talk about the child support.
Wacha nijaribu kuongeza volume. Ongea tu wanakusikia.
I came up with 4 subtopics, which we are going to look into it. We posted in the group. The first subtopic was legal and moral responsibility. The second was gender and fairness. The third was financial realities. And the fourth was emotional and the psychological impact. Yeah. So let's start with the Lego. The Lego and moral. Want to start with the Lego and moral responsibility. So in this subtopic, what are we going to talk about in this subtopic? No, Lego is law and moral is you. So we want to know, do you need the law to take care of your child, or it's you? It's you who needs that support from yourself. So so I want us to start with, like, I want to ask, should child support be a legal duty or a moral choice? So you can raise your hand, bro. You can raise your hand if you feel like.
Okay.
Okay, Muriuki, I can see your hand.
Yeah, thanks, Clinton. If you have a child, you should be ready for the responsibility. In fact, if you have sex, be ready for the aftermath. Thanks.
Thank you.
Amesemaje sasa?
Okay, thank you, Muriuki. Muriuki tells us if you have a child, it's be a legal responsibility, which is
Yes,
good.
yeah. Even after sex, you know what's coming after.
Yeah.
After sex, you know the outcome, the sex outcome. You know it. So be ready.
So what if it's accidental, Muriuki? You know, there's accident can happen sometime.
Okay, if it's an accident, take it to a children's home.
How?
If you can't,
How?
if you can't,
How
if
is
you
that?
can't manage, if you can't handle the baby, take it to a children's home.
Under what grounds?
Okay. Okay. Thank you. You were saying the fragments. Unasemaje?
Nilikuwa nauliza Muriuki, unapeleka mtoto to children's home under what grounds?
I can't, kama hawezi afford kumlea, but the child suffers, take it to a place where he or she will be taken care of. Where should they suffer? Kama hawezi.
But I don't think there is any children's home that is accepting children on the grounds that muzazi hawezi linda mtoto. Most children's homes only accept kids who are completely orphans.
Okay. Thank you, Muriuki. We can go to Pastor Stanu.
Repeat the question.
I was asking, should just support be a legal duty or a moral choice?
I think it should be both the legal and the moral. Sometimes I can say, for example, like a moral, if, for example, you agree you don't want a child, but accidentally you get the child, maybe by force, maybe the woman refused to abort, or the man also maybe can refuse to for the abortion or for family planning issue. So in that case, if you are being forced to have a child because he have refused to do family planning or to do abortion after that accident, then that will be very immoral for a father to be forced to take care of the child. But legally, according to the law, you must take care of the child. So it depends.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stanu. Chilwe.
Yeah, I think for me, it should be moral. I guess there are other topics or rather subtopics you wanted to touch on. But I think the way child support is currently structured is very unfair. So I wouldn't recommend for it to be legal because I think 90% of the time, it's the woman who gets custody and the man who has to pay child support, and the money doesn't even go to the child's needs. It just goes to the woman's needs. She's just busy spending it on luxury goods and outings and fancy things and stuff like that. So there's no way to mitigate that. I think if the man had the right to say how the money is spent, right? So if, let's say, the court says he has to pay this amount of money, but then he decides how it's spent on the child, then I would agree that it could be legal. It should be legal to pay child support. But the way child support is currently structured, I don't think it's fair for it to be legal.
Okay, thank you, Chilwave. Dorcas.
Okay. I am on the opposite side of Chilwave's argument. I think it is absolutely pertinent for the issue of child support to be legalized because you cannot count on people's morality. Our society is so decadent. Our parents are so reckless that if you leave it up to their moral inclinations, too many children will be left neglected. Their needs will not be catered for because we have very many irresponsible parents out there. For the most part, as the children said, for the most part, custody is given to, especially in Kenya, it is given to women when the child is 12 years and below. Why? Because it is presumed that the child is at a tender age where they might need nurturing. But I also question that because I happen to have a brother who got custody despite his baby's mother being very much alive and being around, and the child was below 12 years. So they look at who's the better parent in that situation. It isn't cast in stone that because she's female, automatically she will get custody. If you show that you are involved, you are a better parent than the female, you will get custody as the man. So my challenge or my task to men who don't want to pay child support is be very involved in the child's life. If you are, then you won't have to deal with these issues of child support. But I'm going way ahead of myself. I know we're going to talk about gender roles somewhere among the subtopics, and I'll bring that aspect back. But I favor Kenyan law. When it comes to this issue, I think our constitution is highly progressive and it is only focusing on the child's interest. It doesn't matter what the beef between you and your ex-wife is or your ex-husband. They just want the best interest of the child. And the reason why they compel you to pay child support is because in the past, before these laws were passed, most men, because it's very lopsided anyway, most men would have kids, and as soon as they divorce, they would neglect those kids. It's like the kids stop being theirs when they're not living with the mother. Yeah, and those children would become victims of this conflict between two adults. Children are innocent. They did not ask to be here. It is the two of you. That's my perspective. Legally in Kenya, you must pay child support because of the child's interest. The child has needs. It is the two of you that brought this child into the world. So these issues of, oh, the wife might not use it for the intended purpose, blah, 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 that is irrelevant. What matters is that their needs, the child's needs, are met. Now, I'm hearing a lot of weird things you guys are saying. What if the child, having the child or the pregnancy is accidental? How can you have a child accidentally? Unless it is rape. Unless it is rape, that's when you can say that it was accidental. But if it is mutually consenting
Don't you know
adults,
a condom can burst?
come on.
Don't you know a condom can burst?
Yes. So what were you guys, what were you expecting to make when you had sex? You thought you'd make mandazis? There's always, every time you have sex with a woman, when you're a man, every time you have heterosexual sex and somebody is within childbearing age, always be ready for the possibility of a child. Hakuna kitu kama accident. Hakuna. So the moment you do have it, just be prepared for the possibility, and you have to carry that responsibility of child support. And with our constitution here, there are people who are just selfish, going around pouring their sperm everywhere, and they don't want to take responsibility for their actions. Let me leave it there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dorcas. But I want to give you some like 30 minutes, like 30 seconds to answer me this. What do you feel like? Should be child support be about money, or it should be like time and emotional things? What do you feel?
Okay, should child support be financial, or should it also be emotional and social? I think it should be all those, but when it comes to legal compulsion, you can't compel someone legally to be socially active or emotionally active in their child. If they don't want, they don't want. But financially, that is compulsory. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And and
Yeah, I think child support should be both moral and legal responsibility or compulsion. Because, as you know, our African men are raised to just be passive when it comes to child care. So if you decide to, if we as a country decide to make child support or issues involving like child responsibility to be moral, I think men will not show up. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. You guys have observed it, you know it, and that is all. And also to add, children cannot be accidents. Yeah.
okay, thank you, Anne. But Anne, I want to ask you this: like, so do you feel like child responsibility should be about men, not women?
I'm just saying, most of the time, women are the ones left with the responsibility to take care of young ones, or even children before the age of like 18. And if we make it to be like moral and involvement of like the government, the children's services, and the constitution, men would like most probably take advantage of the situation and just be deadbeats. So we need the law to enforce it and make sure men show up, and also women equally, both financially, emotionally, and in all ways.
Okay, thank you, Anne. Hey, Aura. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
To me, I think child support is somehow unfair to us gents because you see, if you've ever attended any family court proceedings, you will get to know men lose 90% of those court battles. You will never, especially if the kid is way below 4 years, whether the mother is abusive, you'll have to prove way more just to get your kid. And then you will end up to pay for her to survive with your kid. And that, to me, that's just unfair. No one will hand you that kid if you have to prove to the court otherwise. See, it's more hassle for you to prove it than just get the baby from the kid, from the mother. So child support to me, it doesn't work well for us. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I saw an under plus. You have something to say? You have something to say? Okay, so. Okay, thank you. Anyone who wants to say something? Okay.
Pragmatists. All right. Should Dr. Monisha. Nikona, I have someone here who is being someone. The subject of the day, actually. This is Ben, this is the pragmatist. And I have a young one here to hear what people have to say about them. So, should child support be a moral or a legal decision? I think we have to go back to understanding what is child support and why child support. The significance of child support is like to ensure, because the goal is to ensure the best for the child. And both sides have shortcomings. Ideally, in an ideal world, child should be a connecting audio. Okay, in an ideal world, child support should be a moral decision. Like, you shouldn't be forced to take care of your own child in an ideal world. However, there are many aspects and many nuances that we have to consider, because like some have argued, if it were left at that, some people would actually take advantage and not be involved. There are some people who just don't want to be involved. That is where legal comes in. Because the purpose of the legal aspect is to ensure, like I said, the best for a child. So as it is, the only problem is there are gaps in our legal systems. So I do think that the legal aspect is necessary, but I also do think that it needs to be improved. It's necessary to force those who do not want to be involved. With that being said, I think there are some speakers who have mentioned something that they don't believe that children can be, the loose term here is accidents, but I think the best term is unplanned. Kids do happen without plans. And unfortunately, majority, many kids today happened without plans. And they do happen. So when they happen, the question is, how can we proceed from there? And that's why I went back to, it should be possible for an adult or two adults to figure out how to proceed. But because what should is not always what is, then the government or an external force comes in to stand in that gap. Yeah. So what we need is a more robust, because the issues of custody, there is a lot of issues there, and a lot of unfairness, if we are to be genuine. Because once again, I usually ask myself, if, for example, if I am being forced to pay money to the mother of my child because she isn't stable enough to take care of that child, why the hell is she being given custody? But yeah, that is those are debates for another time. But yeah, the current legal system might have small unfairness, so some issues of unfairness, but it's important. It's important. Back to you, moderator.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, brother, for that. Okay, but then for me, I feel like we don't need the law for you to take care of your child. You know, making a child is a very long process. Like you have to meet, talk, go have sex, then you make a child. So for me, I don't feel like you need the law. It's your moral obligation to take care of that child. You don't need the law to come and take care of, and make you take care of that child. So for me, I don't feel like you need the law. Yeah, Lucheveleli, what you want to say?
Yeah, sorry for coming in late, but I was able to pick from what you guys were saying. Yeah, I think I would agree with what Ben Tim had earlier talked about. I think it's actually wrong from my perspective. It's actually wrong for the law to assume that everyone gets a child by choice, because I think it's a little bit nuanced. And the problem with the law is that, you know, it treats everyone like it's like one size fits all. And
Yeah.
technically speaking, it shouldn't be that way, because it dangerously assumes that anyone who has a kid did so by choice. And I think it was someone else who said that, yeah, you know, the consequence of having unplanned sex, it's a kid, so you better bear the kid up. Yeah, there's that perspective, but from my perspective, in an ideal society, as someone had earlier said, you know, we shouldn't really be having the government coming in and, you know, policing you around how to parent, because from my perspective, I think it would actually cause other problems, whether it's abuse, neglect, because it's like you're forcing adults to do things that naturally they weren't really planning for. And you can't argue that you can police everyone's morals, that you can police, for instance, a deadbeat dad, and force him to be there for their kids. So if the dad doesn't want to be there, you can't actually force him, and you can't jail him, because yes, you can jail him if you want to, but if he doesn't give that love to that neglected kid, that love won't really come. You can't force love, or you can't force care. So to me, what I was going for, you know, it's like it treats like everyone gets a child by choice, and it sort of ignores the nuanced areas like consent, even the desire for parenthood itself, which is something that should be ideal when it comes to, you know, raising kids as a family. You and your partner, you should have a similar mindset. So it sort of ignores things like, say, coercion, contraceptive failure, because it sort of to me, child support is actually being weaponized. Yeah. I think, for lack of a better word, because yes, that's what's going on. So to me, I can ask that, should moral responsibility be identical in all cases, or is the legal framework operating in a sort of scenario like one size fits all? So I think I would agree with what Ben Tim had said, that if it's reforming our law to customize them, you know, and treat these cases differently, because yes, we do have some contraceptive failure, and yes, we do have some accidental babies, like someone had earlier put it. And yes, most of the kids are usually unplanned. And you can even think of several scenarios where, for instance, you get a whoopsie baby, and the lady doesn't want to, you know, do something about it, for lack of a better word. And by the mere fact that one party doesn't really desire parenthood, the law forces such a party to get into parenthood, just because of a sort of, you can say, a mistake or something that they overlooked to have a child. So yes, yeah, I think it's not really ideal that we have such, I could even use the term archaic laws, because they have to be customized, and, you know, every scenario should be treated differently. So that's what I'd say.
Thank you, Eugene. Sika, you've been raising your hand. Do you have something to say? Sika, there's someone to go to Sika who's been raising their hand. Sika.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
I was just listening to the guy who was speaking, talking about how there are unwanted pregnancies or the unplanned pregnancies that are carried to term, and then people don't want to take responsibility for them. This is where the law comes in. And like you said, yes, the system is somewhat not functioning well for everyone and should be reformed. But what we should remember is that we should also put the child as a whole, as a human being. We should consider the child as a person, and we should also consider what the child needs. If you engaged in sexual acts and you happen to have a baby who was carried to term, it is your moral responsibility to take care of that child. You cannot just neglect the child because you don't feel like it or you're not ready or anything like that, because this child did not ask to be born. They weren't there when you were making that decision to engage into this act. So it's not this child's responsibility to take care of themselves, it's yours. That's just what I wanted to say.
Thank you. David.
You wanted to add? You wanted to respond
Thanks.
to?
Thanks, Benson. Hello, everyone. I will start by saying that the reason that we have to institute or to legalize or to make child support be doable is the same reason that we jail thieves and murderers, because there are people who will not do their responsibility, not do their duty. So if it is your duty in marriage or out of marriage to support a child that you sired, then the law will come in to make you do something that you probably didn't want to do, but it's your responsibility anyway. You have to carry this thing. But at the same time, I'm going to take an issue with the society. The societies, probably just all societies, have got this blame on women. And because I think probably I'm going to say religion or culture. And the woman is the woman got pregnant. Well, that is biology. It is, and the society is also wrong for not teaching people sex education. That biology goes that the woman is the one that gets pregnant. The child does not come from God. The child comes from two people engaging in something that, in my opinion, they should only engage for fun and only engage for procreation when they deliberately want to do that. But society neglects, particularly our own society neglects that part because they are not teachers they are not teachers sex education. I don't know for what reason that they neglect that, but it's a big thing. It's like somebody not taking you to school. It's just the same thing for not giving you sex education, but we will talk about that one on another day. So I blame the society for blaming women for so many things that you even blame them for getting pregnant. Therefore, it is them to raise the child. You don't want the man to pay for child support, but it is something that was done by two people. It's like jailing one person when there were two thieves. Why are you leaving one person to carry the burden when there were two people involved in this thing? Just because the one is a woman and the other one is a man, he can walk away. No, that is not right. Child support should be there for the reason that there were two people in this thing. There was not one person. Two people did this deed. Therefore, two people should be able to take care of this child. As to the guys feeling that the woman always gets a child custody, unfortunately, that is how it is because of the situation of raising a child. I cannot imagine my father having a responsibility of us and coming home early to make sure that he cooked for us. He made sure we had our uniform clean, that early in the morning he woke up and made sure. I somehow, maybe if my mother was not there, maybe he could do it, but I just can't see him doing that because that was in the village and I don't even think in the city is the same thing. There are things like women do a million little things every day just to make the life of their beloved child go smoothly. Now, I'm not saying that men wouldn't do that. I have got a neighbor here who is actually the better mother for the children than the mother. But is my time over?
No, you can talk.
Oh, thanks. Therefore, I'm not saying that I'm not brushing every man with the same brush. I'm just saying that in the majority of the situation, at the tender age of a child, we need the person who is the tender one is the one that we need for the child's tender age. And I'm not, so therefore I'm not going to say who is going to get the custody. Guy, if you get the custody of the child, I better pay you. I better pay you child support. So that's just how it goes. If you're the tender parent and the judge decides that you're the tender parent, then yeah. And not all judges. I went in front of a judge who surprised me by being very fair. He was not mean on the other side. He only chewed their head off when it was necessary to have their head chewed off. And when we needed both of us to have our heads, oh boy, he chewed our heads off. So I'm going to say that not all judges are, it might depend on how you present your case. That is one thing. And finally, I've already said, and yes, we should not be sued into taking our responsibility. That is my final point, and I want to stress this one. We should not be sued into taking care of our own responsibilities. But if we don't, we should be hauled to court. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ndeve. So as we continue looking at the first subtopic, the lack on the moral responsibility, I want to introduce the second subtopic, gender and fairness. Gender and fairness. So like, I want to know gender and fairness. Like, I want to know, like, two people had sex. We have a man and a woman who had sex. So I want to feel like, why should be the man is the man is the only who's obligated to take care financially of the child. So in the house we are three people here, and I have Anne on the line. Anne, you can go.
Just to kickstart the gender and fairness thing, I'll go back to Eugene's comment and reply with a question. You cannot say in this like patriarchal society that we are in, that laws that have been enforced by men and fair to men that took the larger percentage in laws, especially the one concerning child support. So you cannot come here tell like women that the laws that were created by men in this patriarchal society are unfair to them. Second, I want to say that if like an ideal world existed, as Benson you were saying, does that ideal world have abortion access to like terminate children that are unwanted, so that you can say children cannot be accidents? Or in this case, we love to say that children are mistakes. So if children are mistakes, then if you agree that sometimes children can be mistakes, then we can say that it is okay to consider the paternal side if they are okay with if they were okay with bringing children here. But then in this world, that women also do not have like boundaries or autonomy over their bodies to terminate children, you cannot come here and tell us that we can consider how men feel about being parents, yet still the source, that is the mothers, are not given the autonomy to the full autonomy to control whether they bring children here. Yeah, I hope you have gotten my point.
Moderator, you are muted. Clinton, you are muted.
Hello. Okay, now I'm audible. So I was saying like this. I don't know who told these women that it's only men who make the law. Nowadays we have the women represented in the parliament. So it's both genders who make the law. So I don't know where they got this thing like that. It's only men that make the law. So, as you speak, Richeverelli, Eugene, you can go. Eugene, Eugene. Unafanya
Unasikia? Oh,
Eugene, Eugene.
Niko sawa. So Eugene ndiye amepotea.
Okay.
Before Eugene come.
Okay. And Eugene can go.
Yeah, am I audible? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Hello? Okay.
you're
Yeah,
audible.
so I was talking about the, hello? Can you hear me, Clinton?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was talking about the moral responsibility. How, for instance, that it automatically we are assuming automatically that it should follow a biological outcome, especially when it comes to things like autonomy and consent. And my argument was that the problem is with society itself, not even with the child support laws. Because when I talk about reformation, I was actually meaning things like we should have some laws like reproductive consent laws to parenthood itself, because most of these cases are one party wants to be a parent, the other party doesn't want to be a parent. And yes, the law assumes, and it's actually one-sided. So I'm actually marrying this first topic with the second subtopic, which is on gender fairness. Most often than not, these child support debates usually, they actually reveal the gender double standards. For instance, it's the woman's choice not to have a child, whether it's through abortion, because her bodily autonomy is protected, but the man is more often neglected, because the law assumes that the man doesn't have really any say when it comes to parenthood. It's just the lady who wants to keep the pregnancy or terminate it, and all that follows. So we have several issues here. We have gender asymmetry, like it's like the law favors one gender and totally ignores the other. And yes, I will definitely agree that someone had earlier said that when it comes to making this baby, it's like two parties were involved. So to make things better, we should actually have better laws that serve us, not the other way around. For instance, if we introduce things like reproductive consent laws to parenthood, like both of you should agree that you want to be a parent. If we don't want to be a parent, one party signs and the other one doesn't sign. So no one will be coming to jail the one that didn't give consent to parenthood. These are the things that society has neglected. And before I finish, I think someone had said that men shouldn't complain because it's men who made these laws. I think it's not really the case, because right now we do have women lawmakers. It's not all men throughout. So these laws were made by each and everyone, all both genders, the man and the woman. So saying that it's the man who came up with the law, so men shouldn't be complaining, I think that's a very wrong argument from my perspective. So I think child support, I'm not really against child support. It's actually there for the best or for the betterment of that child. But I think it will be seamless if we had some laws that serve us inside that child support. Because when it comes to parenting, you see, it sort of assumes that one gender has a say, the other gender doesn't have a say. Whether they like it or not, they are the parent and they should support the baby. So to me, it doesn't really make sense. Again, the problem is with the society. And if we reform our laws, it will better serve us to the better of everyone. So that's what I'd say.
Mr. Moderator, are you there? Okay, I think something has happened, and he's not able
Okay,
to
thank
talk.
you. Thank you, Yuji. So Dorcas, as you speak, I want you to look at this. Like, do you feel Dorcas, you're a woman. Like, do you feel like uh women should pay the child support if the father has that custody? Yeah, you can go, Dorcas.
Let me start by answering that question. Yes, absolutely yes. I am an advocate for the child's rights. I don't care about the gender wars, even though I am a feminist and a proud one at that, but I focus on the child's interests. So if it so happens that the man is the one that has custody, then the secondary parent or the parent with secondary custody should pay the parent with the primary custody. That's the only fair way to ensure that this child's needs are fully catered for. So that's my response. Now, on the general idea of gender asymmetry, as somebody pointed out, I think it was Dr. Luceveleli who said, there's some asymmetry. Other people have pointed out the idea that it seems as though the law prioritizes women's needs or women's interests over and above men's interests. And so here's the thing. I believe what someone said earlier, the law is a blunt instrument. We go with the happy medium, or it might not even be happy, but the medium. We go with the law of averages. We might miss some people above and we might miss some people below, but we just go with averages. So the reason why Kenyan law primarily grants women custody when there's a custody battle is because women happen to be the primary caregivers. Why? Because our society socializes women to become nurturers, and it socializes men to just be providers. This is the reason why, guys, Mother's Day is celebrated the world over. Things come to a standstill during Mother's Day. I remember there was a video going around where people were asking, they were asking fathers, what's your child's best friend's name? Where do they stay? Where does the best friend stay? What is their teacher's name? What are your children's allergies, food allergies? When was the last time she felt sick? Or, some other less important information, her favorite color, things like those. And the fathers got all of them wrong. But when they asked the mothers were spot on. If you were the judge, wouldn't it be reasonable to pick the mother, in this case, as the primary caregiver? Yeah, that is the reason why, for the most part, women are granted custody. And if you, as a man, contest this custody because of neglect or maybe mental health issues, addiction, etc., you feel like she's not a responsible parent, you can argue your case and get custody. I told you guys, my brother has had primary custody over his daughter, even though his wife is not sick, is not mentally unwell, etc., an addict, but he just proved that he was the better nurturer for that matter. So this is the reason why it's tilted. I wish they didn't always assume that the mother would be the better parent. I think that might be stretching it too far, but practically speaking, guys, women are just better suited to take over parenting. after divorce. Now, somebody said, in order to avoid child support, why don't we just give custody to the parent that has more money? Yeah. But that approach would be ignoring what I just said. Parenting is not just money. Men have been socialized, not all, I concede, but most men in African societies have been socialized to just be providers. They don't nurture, they don't care about the details of a child. They wouldn't know what to do with a toddler, how to wean them, how to potty train them. They're absolutely clueless. They're absolutely clueless about nannies, about taking their kids to bouncing castles, etc. Okay, maybe that one they can do, but other smaller details, they just don't care, or they don't know, they're incompetent in that area, and this is why women are given custody. So it isn't just money that makes you a better parent. I'm using the word better as a comparative between two parties, the man and the woman. In this case, the woman carries the cake, takes the cake because she is a better caregiver, a better nurturer. That is why it seems as though it's tilted towards the female side. Thank you.
Dorcas, thank you. I want to give you like 30 seconds. You answer me this like, you're a feminist. So like, I wanted to ask this. Do you feel like the system is treating the fathers and the mothers equally? How do you feel like? Do both parents get the same equal treatment?
In the area of child support, or in custody, in child custody? Because you see, that's a different animal altogether.
In child support. Stick to the child support.
Yes, if the law, by the way, would tell you, if you're the one with the primary custody and you are the man, you would be entitled to child support from the female. So it would be objective in that sense. But as I explained before, most times custody is given to women because they are better caregivers, better nurturers than men. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dorcas. So as we continue talking, I want us to look at the next subtopic, financial and social impact. Like, I want you to tell us, like, should unemployment parents still be required to pay? If you're unemployed, should you be required to pay them child support? Okay, Bill.
Hello. So I think first I would like to address some comments that I had when I joined.
Bill.
Hello. Mnaweza nisikia vizuri? Hello.
Hello.
Am I audible? Hello, nasikika
Bill.
vizuri? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, Bill.
Okay, we can go to Ndebe. Bill is like the network is not working.
Wait, Clinton, you can't hear Bill?
I could hear Bill. I could hear
Yeah,
Bill.
even me, I could hear him.
Bill.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I
Bill.
think okay, so other than the so
Bill.
I will first would like to address something I had earlier. There's someone who had said that because the laws were made by men, then men should not have the right to complain. And I think that's like a faulty way to like look at it, because whether a law is right or wrong has nothing to do with who created it. So even if like the laws were made by women, that will not mean that women are not allowed to complain if the law is wrong. I feel like we should be focusing on the issue at hand. Two, on the matter of child support, I think the parent that is not taking an active part in the raising of the kid should contribute according to their capacity. So if you're a millionaire, it's unreasonable to expect you to, if you're running like 30K per month, it's unreasonable to expect you to pay the same amount as someone who's earning like 100K, and it will also be unreasonable to expect you to pay the same amount as someone who is earning like 100K. We also need to factor in like the responsibilities that these people have, like outside the amount they're earning. Like maybe they have other kids and have to come as well. So we have to factor in things like those. On again, I joined late, so I had you guys mentioning something about like any I think Benson was talking about the thing with like the unfairness with how the rights, the parental rights are distributed across gender. And I think it's unreasonable to expect the rights to be distributed equally across genders because the genders they operate differently, they have different responsibilities regarding to how they raise the child. So, for instance, when the child is born, for the first like 6 months, they have to be with the mother because of breastfeeding, like when conjunction protocol. So it's unreasonable to expect you to like the man to. It will not be like the best path to expect the man for most by and large to expect the man to be done to take care of the kid for the first like 6 months. So it's by that alone, like it's hard to be absolutely fair across the board. Also, in general, women earn less than men, so expecting like women to be contributing the same amount will be hard to follow through. Lastly, on the thing with the abortion, I think like if um, it is hard to like say just because the man did not want to, just because the man wanted the girl to abort during the course of the pregnancy, then it's okay for him to abandon the kid once the kid is born. But I feel like it should be factored in when they're considering the amount of money they should be paying for child support. Like let us say if the man was advocating for abortion in the first like one of the first trimester, and the woman was totally against it, and then they go ahead and give birth, then when they are considering the amount of child support they should pay, it should be like a bit less. Like it's a very difficult thing to navigate, but I feel like it should be less because they expressed this interest, and I feel like that should affect how much they will be paying. Like it should be reduced a bit. I think that will be all from me today. I'm done.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Bill. Ndeve, I think you are next. Ndeve.
Okay, thank you, Clinton. On gender and fairness, that's the subtopic, right? What was your question again, Clinton?
And Ndeve, we are looking at the gender and fairness, but we are also looking. But we are also looking at the next subtopic, which is financial and social impact.
All right, good.
Yeah.
So we're starting with the gender. We have said that obviously, if you've got a newborn and the newborn is still being breastfed, definitely, if you're not together with the mother of the child, you cannot be given the child if the child is being breastfed. So we're just looking at the logistics of the well-being of the child. So the gender might be the female, but let us look at it in another way. That let us say that the mother is a musician, a celebrity that is on the go all the time. Definitely, daddy, you better step in, because if the mother of your child is Mary J. Blige, or it's Halle Berry, or it is Britney Spears, they are singing, they are out there, they are on the stage, they are doing stuff. You are the one that is in charge of the child. Actually, I named those celebrities because they have been paying child support to the father of the child, because he's the one that is taking care of the child. They are on the road. So it is not just gender. The judge has to look at a few things for the well-being of the child. The child is better with the father because the mother is on the road all the time. So this celebrity is going to have to pay child support to the guy. So it's only fair. But while it is also being fair, it's actually being fair on the child, not on the gender or of the mother or the father. So let us just say that. And often we all know men make more money, even even in rural areas, guys have more money than the women. So obviously, it most likely falls on the man paying to support the mother of the child. But when you support the mother of the child, of course you are supporting the child. I mean, when you're given child support, it definitely goes to providing food and shelter for both the mother and the child. But I have had a lot of animosity towards the mother being helped with the money. Yeah, well, the mother is being helped with the money because she's the one that is helping the child. And if you are a millionaire, guys, if you are a millionaire, why do you want your child to live the life of poverty? You're a millionaire. What is your problem? Guys, just tell me, what's your problem if you're a millionaire? Why do you have a problem if your child lived well? Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next is Muriuki. Muriuki.
Okay, thanks, Clinton. Yeah, thanks, Clinton. I think to be fair, the person with more money should give more support, my opinion. Just to be fair, if you have more money, like David is saying, if you have more money, give more support. Thanks.
Thank you, Muriuki. So before Eugene, I have someone in the house who's called Anne. Anne, you can talk then Elizabeth.
My concern goes to Bill. I did not say that I deny you the right to complain, but if we are talking about gender fairness, then it has to be at the back of our mind that in 2010 Constitution, in its amendment and even like its legalization, the people that were in the National Assembly, the gender that was mostly represented there, it consisted of like 93% of men. So we have to be aware at the back of our mind that men were the majority and there was no representation. So then if the laws that they themselves made, you will have like, you can complain from like that standpoint or look at it from that standpoint, then you can be sure that even the laws for sure, if women were nowhere to be seen, then be sure that for real, the laws do not like favor women. Also, I want to say this. It was just an addition. I think from my standpoint as a humanist, men can like be more human. It's not fair to just because that your society says that men should not cook, men should not be, all there for their children, change diapers. It's not okay for you to just watch someone who is the mother of your child do all the work while you are seated or like not taking part. Well, this is a human being that you took part in bringing into the world. So this is just a wake-up call. It's okay for men to have human instincts. There is no way you can tell me you are a human being, but you cannot see that someone is doing lots of the work and just getting tired and having parental burnout. Well, all you do is sit. So, because the society that we live in as a patriarchal society does not encourage men to do such things that are considered womanly, mine is just to like, welcome you to the table. It is okay to partake in the duties that seem motherly or umama, something like that. So yeah, I understand there is that, but I've not said that you're not allowed to complain. You are allowed to complain. Everyone is allowed to. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Anne. So Eugene, you're next. But I want us to look at the next subtopic. We have looked at the legal and the moral responsibility, gender and fairness, financial and the social impact. So the next subtopic, which is our last subtopic, is about abuse, emotion, and the reform. So after looking at all of that, I want to know, like, do you feel like do some parents take advantage of just support to punish the other party? Like, you know what I'm talking about. So the next is Eugene.
Yeah. I think my point on the gender asymmetry was sort of somewhat misunderstood, because yes, I agree with most of you that the mom, most of the time, more often than not, the mom is the primary caregiver of the child, and it's essential. Even the first 6 months, the first periods of development of a child, it's very important that they need to have the mother with them. However, the point that I was emphasizing when it comes to gender asymmetry, things like, for instance, most of our laws usually protect the women's right or the bodily autonomy. So if a woman says that they want to keep the pregnancy, they want to become a parent, no one will question that. You see, my issue is that we sort of have a slight double standard, not in relation to the child custody, but in relation to keeping the child or staying with the child, irrespective of one party that doesn't want to go into parenthood. So men, on the other hand, they virtually have no legal equivalent for that. So once conception occurs and the child is there, so the law requires that the father automatically assumes the moral or legal or even financial responsibility that that they should step up for the child, irrespective of the mindset irrespective of the ambitions of the man, irrespective of the aspirations. Probably they never wanted to become a father, but all that becomes ignored, and that's the issue. That's my issue with gender asymmetry. Now, when it comes to the sort of solution that I was thinking about, for instance, yes, I agree that we need to have a cultural reform. For instance, I think it was Dorcas who talked about, for instance, when it comes to issues about custody, it's not always set in stone that it's the mom who usually gains custody. For instance, if the father can have some sort of nurturing aspect in them, and even arguably that they can raise the child better than the mom, so yes, the father can as well take custody. So yes, a cultural reform is the first solution. The second solution, I think we should also have things like, we should have this parties should agree. For instance, if they want to be parents, and it can as well be made that one party can also relinquish the parental, and they never wanted to be into parenthood. So that said, I think I can now talk about the financial and social impact. I think there's also a flaw in that. In our setting right here, it's usually wrong when we talk about financial support, but we never question the systemic failure in the background or is parenthood, yes, but it fails to provide the economic stability or even healthcare or even affordable childcare of these people that we are trying to bring into this life. So it's all about, you might have a couple that they are financially struggling, but of course, even if they're financially strong, financial support, all of us expect that even if one party is better off than the other, we expect that they should save everything. But we fail to question the systemic failure in the background. And again, the issue of having other special laws comes into play. For instance, we can have something known as the universal basic child support, in which the government steps in, because even if we are dealing with people from a low socioeconomic background, we should have a kitty for such a kind. For instance, if one party doesn't or cannot even afford to be a parent, the government can readily chip in. Instead, right now, what we have is it is now that the government and everyone else, we are praising to become a parent, but no one even bothers to come in and support the mental background, financial background, and all that. So it's like we are all happy when we get new births, but we never really question if the welfare of this child, the financial outcome, or even the financial background of this child. So there's a little bit of a problem there. Yeah. And also, I think we can also reframe the social messaging. Like, again, we should stop romanticizing, building legacies with kids, but we should focus on, being economically ready to accept these new lives that we want to create. So it will help curb this child support financial issue that we are having right now at our offices. So that's what I'd say.
Thank you, Lushaveleli. And Deve, you can go then Dorcas.
Yes, thanks. Let me just rehash a little bit on the society, the impact on the society. If you provide child support to your child, you're making sure that your child will not go astray. Your child will go to school, will probably be well supported, particularly if you are involved also in other ways, that you will make sure that your child will not be another delinquent on the street. You are not adding into the problem that we already have of people that are just kind of lost. So that is a very big impact on the society, or making sure your child will get an education, will proceed to be a useful member of the society. That one is a one thing. Now the other one of gender, I think I had already covered that one. Let me just leave it at the impact that you have on the society because you have supported your own child. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I think you're also forgetting. You're looking at the last subtopic, which is abuse, motions, and reform. I'd ask.
Oh yes. On the reform, the one reform that I would like to see is that when two people get pregnant, if one of them does not want that pregnancy, I would like that restored down to the ground. The only problem is that the child is inside one person and you can't force them to abort. However, there can be things, mikakati put in place to support the one that does not want it to proceed. Because you actually cannot force me to abort. But if the guy, my fellow, my partner in crime does not want to have a child, I shouldn't force them to have that child and the responsibilities thereof. Therefore, there should be a reform that covers my partner in crime. Thank you. That's something I would like to see.
Okay, thank you, Ndeve. So, Dorcas, as you speak, I want you to talk about on this. What do you think, like the system? What do you think the system will make the thing to be more fair and be more fair, and more effective? So, Dorcas, you can go.
Okay, I'll respond to that towards the end of my contribution. Let me start with that third subtopic, which is financial and social impact. On the financial impact, I think it is positive for the child. Like I keep saying, we will have all these tussles between the man and the woman, but at the end of the day, what about the child? What happens to the child? And child support to me is a plus. In a world where we care about our young ones, where we seek to protect them and to nurture them for the future, then I think child support is a net positive. On the other hand, it can be detrimental to the deadbeat dads, the ones that go around impregnating women all over town. I remember there's this show on the OWN network Own Network by Oprah Winfrey. And there's a lady, what's her name? I keep forgetting her name. She's African American and she's cut her hair. She's a psychiatrist. She primarily deals with African American families. And on that show, it was a reality show. She brought deadbeat dads. And there was this African American guy who had 50 kids from, there were not 50 different women, because he did have multiple kids with a few women here and there, but there were several women, dozens of them, that he had impregnated. Now imagine if he needs to pay child support for that, he's going to be that poor. But it's his fault because he went around having unprotected sex. I get it. Consent to sex is not consent to pregnancy and childbearing. I get it. But we must appreciate the fact that it is a byproduct. Getting a child is a byproduct of raw sex. If you don't want to have a child as a man, please use protection. And if you are committed to that cause, then consider getting a vasectomy. Yeah, like if you don't want children at all, consider getting a vasectomy. But if you want them in the future or with the right woman, please don't go around having unprotected sex with women all over town. It's going to hurt you financially. But yeah, you could have seen that coming given your reckless behavior. On the other hand, the social impact of child support, I think socially for the child, it is helpful. I think it is going to allow them to be able to accomplish basic life needs, to meet basic life needs. So socially, I think it is good for the child, but for the parent that is paying the child support, often it might come with some sort of stigma. Yeah, it might come with some sort of stigma. I personally know of a gentleman who had a baby mama, and they had lived together for, let's say, 4 years. They had lived together, and then they separated or divorced, whichever way you look at it. And once they separated, of course, the ex-wife now got custody, but she refused to work. I don't know whether it is refused, or maybe she's been unlucky and unemployed, or she just got comfortable, but she's not working. And she's getting child support from this gentleman, and the gentleman is also paying her rent. Her rent, essentially, her rent and utilities, because she doesn't have money and she's the one that has primary custody of the child. It's that situation, it seems unfair. Like, this woman, I think she should work. Why is she being so parasitic in this case? So that leads me into the next subtopic, which is reforms. I think we can make the system fairer by one, not requiring the child support, the amount, to be equivalent to the lifestyle that you had prior to the separation. Because I am told in Kenya that's the case, that you should pay child support in such a way that the child maintains the same lifestyle that they had when you are married or when you are together with the and they're the divorced spouse. So I'm thinking, hey, that's excessive. That threshold is too much. I think you should be able to take care of their needs, but you don't have to maintain that same lifestyle. Another one, and maybe this might be ongoing, maybe there's a lawyer here who can clarify, but if it isn't, then it could be a room for improvement. We could consider not necessarily sending money, just a lump sum to the primary custodian of the child. You could pay the specific bills. For instance, if it is school fees, you just pay the school directly. If it is hospital bills, you just pay the whatever, what is it called? The hospital. If it is any need that the child has, like you break it down and pay for that only, so that it isn't a cash cow for the quote unquote gold diggers or the women that are taking advantage of this. Okay, I'm assuming it is women because that's the narrative, but it might be even a man, who knows. But yeah, I wish we could just break down those expenses and let the child support specifically go to those sources rather than it just being a lump sum to the primary caregiver, because that could be abused and misused. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorcas. Dorcas, I want to give you some 1 minute. I want you to answer me this. Do you feel like this child support, some women are taking do you think like some women are taking advantage of it? Do you think like the women are taking advantage of this child support to punish the ex boyfriends? Yeah, do you feel like they're taking advantage?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. There are women, especially those who were married to highly successful men. They exaggerate these expenses and they take advantage. But then there are also some men who retaliate and react in an exaggerated manner. There are some men who quit their jobs just so that they don't pay child support. They can't fathom the idea that their money can go to this nasty human called their ex-wife. So they prefer to live in poverty or to drastically alter their income in order to absolve themselves from paying child support. So long and short of it, yes, women take advantage. Yeah, but that's why I'm saying men be keen on having unprotected sex. Guy, just think of it directly as child support, a route to child support for that unplanned pregnancy. Take precautions, guys.
Okay, thank you, Dorcas. Eugene, you can call.
Yeah, now when it comes to this issue of abuse and emotions, and also I'll even give reform, and I'll try to be as slow for the sake of he said that I was rushing because I was trying to beat time, but now just let me go slow. Now, when it comes to the issue of abuse, it's actually true that yes, child support can actually be weaponized, whether it's emotionally, legally, or financially. And it's not just by the lady, as I think Dorcas has talked about. It can be either parent, the man or the woman, the father or the mother. So what usually goes on can be described as, to me, I can describe it as, coercive pronatalism. Like there's an issue of let's say coercion going on. So it sort of overshadows the issue at hand, which is consent, autonomy, and even preventive ethics. But now we are treating it as, as a punishment or an obligation to one party. So yes, there is actually room for someone to weaponize it and manipulate the other party. And this is why it's very important to to embrace something called preventive ethics. So, because yes, most of the child support debates, they are usually reactive. Like the damage has already been done. The child is born. So who wants to keep the child, or how is the child struggling? No one wants to support the child. If for example, it's someone who can, let's say, give a better life to that child whom for example, they're a parent to. So when it comes to that, what we really need is, treat, instead of being reactive, we should actually embrace, or emphasize on the issue of consent, and even have these consent centered laws, like even before conception, even before conception happens, that couple should actually sign. Again, I emphasize, yes, I also agree with what Dorcas has talked about, the issue of sex education, contraception. If you're a man and you don't want to have a kid, just get a vasectomy. It will save you big time. Or just stop being promiscuous and careless and all that. But again, as that is going on, we should also, as a whole society, reform our laws so that, by the very fact that someone has a right to become a parent, someone somewhere has a right not to become a parent. Someone should not be forced to become a parent. Otherwise, we won't really be, we won't really be tackling the issue at hand, which is the issue of autonomy going on, that one party gets violated because they have no say when it comes to parenthood. It's just one party that has a say. Like, I want to become a mom, so my partner must become a father. It's not really fair. So we actually need a reformation on the same, because yes, child support can actually be weaponized, and it has sent many people through turmoil. And ironically, some people are actually earning a living, from child support. Because even before they had a child, they were nobodies. But the fact that they had a child and they went to court and won, they're now, billionaires and millionaires. So it's sort of manipulative. And if you look at it, if you really love children, you will see that this is actually wrong, because we are actually using the lives of children to further our own interests. So it's even horrible. I even lack the words to describe it. And society doesn't focus on that. It will just clap hands and say, yes, you're a parent, so yes, so you've won the court. And we actually miss the insidious bit that goes on in the background. So yes, we actually need a reform to make the laws serve us better and fairly and equally, without any asymmetry or any bias. So that's what I'd say.
Thank you, Rich Valel. I want to ask you this before you go. Rich Valel, I want to ask you this. Eugene.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, what reforms or solutions will make the system more fair and child-centered?
For instance, you can have things like mutual accountability. For instance, if there is a kid coming into the picture, of course, we had two people who created that child, but before that, we should have laws to actually people should agree on becoming parent, because people just become parents because they can, and that's what lands them into problems. If you want to become a parent, you don't have to consult anyone, you don't have to consult any law. And we actually forget that being a parent, it actually takes more than just than actually just pouring your seed into someone and becoming a father. It takes a little more. It takes more than that. So as a society, from my own opinion, we should actually have laws. If you want to become a parent with your partner, sign laws, get it legally stamped. We should have things that protect you guys, because things happen the way they do. You can also say that they want family planning, but again, contraceptives actually fail. Some actually fail, and we have a kid into the picture. But all that gets overshadowed if we treat the issue about child support, if we actually treat it as punishment and obligation, and we forget the picture that there is actually consent involved, there's actually autonomy involved, and it can actually be preventive. So that's one of the first reform. We should have mutual accountability. The second one, yes, it's public education. People should be told that they have reproductive rights, that they have contraceptive options out there. They if it's a man, they can have a vasectomy, they can use condoms and all that. If it's the female, the same thing, not vasectomy, but they have options. Yeah. So the fact that we end up having unwanted kids, because all this is centered around having an unwanted child or unwanted pregnancy, that leads to one party being forced into parenthood. even if they never really desired to be a parent. So we start at the root cause of the issue instead of being punitive and trying to punish the damage that's already done. So that's one of the things. Another thing as well, it's also empowerment. When a single mom or a single father is empowered, it actually decreases the likelihood of them having to rely on that child support for the other partner. But that often gets overlooked. Yeah. So those are some of the reforms that I will see that they will actually work for the betterment of a society as a whole, irrespective of if you want to have a child or if you don't want to. So yeah, that's my opinion on the same.
Thank you, Eugene. Thank you for the advice. Ndeve, you are next.
Yes, thanks. I want to add something on because before I joined, I was out and I was using my phone and I was out there. I couldn't chip in that time because somebody complained in their contribution that a man just gives his money for child support, and the person that is being supported, if it is the mother, they take all they spend the money whichever way they want. But it actually doesn't have to be that way. If you bring in court your situation and you say, I want my child to go to this school, I want my child to have soccer, to take part in soccer, in whatever exhibition, in whatever things that you want your child to take, to associate, to be associated in, and you say, I want some of the money to go into the child doing this, and I will be taking the child to a movie every weekend, or I will be taking the child to the library or to whatever, to holidays. You are not going to be, that money is not going to be going to the wife or to the husband. You will be keeping that money, but you have to take the child where you said you would take the child. In that way, you will be making sure that your money is spent on your child. That way, you do not give the money to the mother, but you and the child went and spent this time together and spend the money on the child, and the court can grant you that. I do not know about Kenya, but the court can grant you. If you even you spend the child the money, if you spend weekends going with the child to the library, they'll take into account that you are spending the child, or the child you have weekends with the child, you have this with the holidays with the child. That's a month. That's a month of child support that you or amount. The amount will be reduced. Definitely, the courts work out all these things because you are showing an initiative. You are showing an involvement in your child's activities and upbringing. But if you just wash your hands and you leave everything to then you are going to pay. You are going to pay to the last penny because you are showing to the court that you are not that actually the mother of the child was right to prove that you are not a very good parent. I just wanted to add that. Now, if that is not in the Kenyan courts, definitely I would like to see that added so that guys can be more involved with that. Even if unampeleka mtoto in the shags, munakaa shags for 2 weeks. See, that is that is the time you've spent with your child, and you are not paying child support that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ndeve. I want to give the chance to the people who have not spoken. The likes of Ndeve, the likes of Shiro and Aina. If you have something to say, you can say. JW, you can also say if you have something to say. This is your time before we close the meeting. Shiro and Aina. El Maestro, if you have something to say, you can also say. Do you have something like in 3, 2, 1? So it's like you don't have. So thank you for coming to the meeting. Been your moderator. My name is Clinton. They call me Black Messiah. So from the day we have known that in supporting your child, you don't need cash. Like you need care, fairness, and you're doing the right thing to your child. So whether the system is working or not, one thing is clear. The child should never be the one who suffers. You should not punish the child because of your differences. So thank you for coming. I've been your moderator. My name is Clinton. Dorcas, back to you.
Wow, bravo, Clinton. Thank you for that very engaging, pertinent, informative, and even entertaining session. I'm delighted to hear from the newbies. There were some new individuals in our midst who made contributions like Anne, and there was is it Siva, something Sika, something like that. There was the other Eugene, not our resident, our resident antinatalist. Not Dr. Lichebeleli. There's a new Eugene in town, but he was calling himself Hugo. I was happy to hear from him, and he introduced himself. He told us he had about us from TikTok, which is what we are targeting. Those Gen Zs, we really want you in our midst. We want you to join us. We want to grow this community. We want to take atheism around the country and the continent for that matter. So thank you so much, all the new people. And of course, the usual members. Thank you, Deve. Thank you, Benson, Timothy. Thank you, El Maestro, although he didn't say much. Thank you, ex-pastor. He commented a bit at the beginning. Thank you, Dr. Lucheveleli. You had very interesting ideas, and you participated extensively in the discussion. You had been missing in action. We are happy that you're back. Thank you, Morioki, for your short but precise comments. Thank you, Bill, and Deve. Oh, yes, Deve. Such profound insights and explanations on some of the difficult matters. I would like, is that a raised hand? Oh, yes, Deve, I see your hand.
Yes, I was wondering if we could hear from our new people when they were introducing themselves, if they are still there anyway. When they were introducing themselves, I had not yet joined. Unfortunately, today I was late, so if we are not recording, and if we have the time, please. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Debe. Unfortunately, all of them have logged out. All of them. The ones I see right now are resident members. So, yeah, too bad. I wish they stayed around. Maybe 2 hours is still too long for them. We hope that in the next one, they will stay on that much longer. Yes, I was still mentioning the people that participated. I was at Deve and I appreciated her insights. Thank you, Benson Timothy. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, for taking this up. We didn't have a host at the beginning of the week, and your name was floated somewhere in the middle. Thank you for accepting that challenge. You carried us through the journey very effectively. despite being in another person's residence. On that note, Benson, ninakuja kwako. I'm coming to see you tomorrow. Any other member who would like to join me, we can go to Lakisama together. Unfortunately, me, I'm coming from Thika Road, so maybe we can agree. You can side chat me. We agree to meet right there at Kasarani Stadium. Then now we can enter Lakisama together. Yeah, so please side chat me. I plan on going there in the afternoon, probably at around 3 p.m., 2 or 3 p.m., because I have a mountain of laundry to do tomorrow, and it's my only off day. So yeah, we are coming to see you. And Musembi had reached out to me to tell me he will be coming. Then there was another person. I don't know their name. I haven't saved them. They wanted to come join me. So yeah, tafadhali expect some friends. Prepare a big flask of tea. And I'm lactose intolerant, so me, I do strong tea or coffee. Yeah, so thank you, members. Sorry, Benson.
Benson Gato. Anakunywa dawa kidogo anaongea. Okay, bado anakunywa dawa.
Oh, okay. Hey, wacha
Okay.
kunywa.
Lakini anamaliza.
Hiyo ni muhimu. Hiyo dawa ndio inamshikilia. Let him take.
You can also talk to
Shiro
Inaina. Ilikuwa tukuje na yeye lakini akasema it's late. So unataka na huyo Shiro Inaina mkuje na yeye huko.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shiro, are you free tomorrow afternoon? Sorry? Oh, but she had said she can't talk on the chat. Yeah, anyway, I'll side chat her.
Okay, guys, how are you? I hope you are all good. I'm not. Nyamaza. It's a beautiful thing. We're talking about child support, and there's a child here. Guys. Okay, nyamaza niongee. Dorcas, you have something to say? I will be moderating as we finish.
No, I was pressing the laugh emoji.
Okay. So far, I'm really grateful for everything you guys have done. It's just been amazing. Yesterday, when I left the hospital, like I said, we were with Eston, and then we picked Nikki along the way. He is my neighbor. He's my neighbor around here. Actually, he works around 100 meters from my house. So I can literally shout his name and he can hear. He was here earlier. He came with Clinton, but then he left. He had to go back to work. I don't know if he is still logged in or he logged out. But I'm grateful. For those who are coming tomorrow, guys, you are welcome. We will be here. I think that's all from me. Naambiwa na mwenye nyumba, when you start coming, you confirm early the number of those who are coming, so that we can do the math. So that the math will be mathing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sawa. Because if we are coming in the afternoon, so we'll have figured out how many will be by then.
Sawa.
All right. Okay, guys. I wish you all a good night or a good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. We have some Kenyan Canadians here with us, so that's why my greetings are that extensive, or my farewell is that extensive. Yes, take care, guys. Let's meet next Friday for another interesting discussion. Bye.
Good morning. Bye.